Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Fresh Crits of Melbourne. It's been a while between drinks, and fair enough, because after the 7 crits in 8 days, I wanted nothing to do with any sort of cycling videos, as I'm sure you can understand. But the bug's back. I got bugged on Beach Road. Hey, Steve, when's the next Fresh Crits video coming out? So, I thought I'd go back to the archives and see what we have. So, we are the 22nd of December, which is the State Crit Champs. And it's held down at our local circuit at Glenvale. How great is that on our home deck? It's run by Cycling Victoria, and I've got a few little nitpicks and some advice that I'm going to provide to them in this video. So like I said, this is the State Crit Champs. This race in particular is 3 grades, all right? It is Masters Grade 1, Masters Grade 2, Masters Grade 3, which means there are guys in this group from the ages of, correct me if I'm wrong, 30 to I think 40 or 45, doesn't matter. But even so, there's 3 grades racing for 3 different first place medals. Does that make sense? So there's essentially 3 races going on in the one race. Super confusing. And to make it even more confusing, none of the athletes know who's in what grade. So it is a complete mess. We've all got numbers on our back, but they don't really correspond. I thought there might have been, the guys in Masters 1, for example, might be in the 0 to 99, whilst the guys in Masters 2 might be the 100s and Masters 3 might be 300s. I don't know, something like that. Or even there's color-coded. Not too sure how you could have done it, but instead it is completely random. I'm not sure how to tell riders apart, and that plays a huge, massive part in this race, which we will be discussing very, very soon. Let's talk about the circuit. Glenvale, we all know what it is. 3, 4 left-hand corners, and there's a bit of wind. Southerly wind today, so that means on this part of the course, it is a block headwind, and then crosswinds and tailwinds for the remainder of the course. So it's all very, very straightforward. As you can see, Gus here ripping it up on the right-hand side, absolute superstar, followed very quickly by Adam, who are both in Masters 1. So what we might do is skip into the race, and I'll pick up some little highlights, little points, and then after that, we'll skip straight to the last 3 laps. I'll see you there. Alrighty, we skipped a forward for a couple of minutes, and the seas kind of parted on me here, and I was able to move up a whole bunch of positions, but it's not in this moment until Isaac jumps on the gas. And if you've ever ridden with Isaac, he is a bulk powerhouse monster, so to speak. He does a lot of the North Road rides, and he rips the legs off all the people that do that. So he rides for Nostromo, and when he goes, then I should probably go. And the stupid thing is, and I only found this out after the fact, that he's not even in my grade. Oh, this is the thing, guys, is that he is in Masters 1, I'm in Masters 2, so if we get in a break together, we're essentially, if the rest of the athletes can figure it all out, we're going to have 2 grades chasing us back, and that's why it's so important to know who's who. As we've seen Mosby here on the right-hand side, he's tried to sneak off the front, and because it's so early in the race, we've all got plenty of matches in our legs. We're all feeling pretty fresh, so these big attacks are going to constantly get brought back, but we just want to get a select group of individuals up the road, get rid of the junk that's behind us, and allow us to chop off together. But every single person in this race, and you can see in the rear cam how long that peloton actually is, they all have the same idea. Alright, I've been sitting pretty for the last 5 minutes, but I've been getting toey, and it's time to get on the front and try another attack. And found myself on Speedy's wheel, where a couple of riders have gone up the road with Todd in my rear cam. We decide to press on, I guess, and get on the pedals and see if we can join this group that is up the road. Now, I'm not sure what grades are up the road, but I want to be in that move. And like I said, the goal of this race is to try to not go into a bunch sprint. I want it to be a reduced field so that I can, because that's where I do my best work, I think, when it's a 6-up sprint or something like that, as opposed to a full elbows out, 30, 50 person mass sprint, because that's just chaos for me. And it's this moment where I use the inside, the protected side, with Mosby on the front, and I jump on the gas and try to get away, sneak away on my own. And obviously, with 21 kilometers left in this race, there's no chance I'm going to be able to stay away on my own. But what I'm hoping is that if I can just lure a couple of Maz 2 riders across with me, maybe we can start a little group and, roll away and, into the sunset and try to take the win away that way. But maybe I'm pushing a little bit too hard. 400 watts, I'm not. This is deep for me, Heart rate's already at 178. I'm well into my threshold heart rate now, if not above. And I'm going deep. I'm grimacing on the face. And as we flick to the rear cam full view, there's not too many people wanting to cooperate. Yes, the field is about 3 seconds away from me, so anybody could sprint over and get me, but there's no sort of organized chase. And that's kind of what I'm gambling on, is that there's no organized chase. There's no one that really knows who to bring me back. But I think that looks like it's Andrew Westerway coming across, and in tow, that looks like Adam Van Stockrum. So that's 2 Masters 1 guys. So really, this is what I mean. They are the guys that shouldn't even be chasing me. But alas, this is the situation that we've been put in. It is just pure carnage. There are 3 races going on in the one race, but everyone just wants to chase everyone. So it's chaos. And what that does actually mean is at the back, the guys that are not doing any chasing are just getting this free ride. They're not putting their nose in the wind, and they're playing it very, very smart. And that's the sort of rider you got to be. You got to be patient. You've got to back your sprint and hope that nothing does get away. Now, I've been caught, obviously, and the normal person should be falling back into the Peloton, getting that rest, dropping that heart rate, and getting some energy back into the body, maybe take on some nutrition. But I've decided to stay on the front, and this can be a good thing and a bad thing. The good thing about doing this, it allows you to be there for that counter attack, right? And that's what's happened here. There's been a bit of a counter, and there's splits in the rear cam, there's splits in the Peloton, and hopefully that means that you can sneak away, but no one's really wanting to push the watts, no one's really wanting to do any work, and that means I've essentially just fried myself. I am staying within the race, and that's where I want to be. I like to ride a sort of an attacking sort of style. I don't like sitting, and I think that's quite boring, and for you at home, I've got cameras on, so I've got to be up the road trying to make the race exciting. But if I was a smarter racer, I would definitely allow myself to fall back into this race, recover, and then use those matches that I've saved up and launch a big one later on. Exactly like what Isaac has done. Attacked on the corner, but instantly shut down by Crofty. Now again, Isaac's Masters 1, Crofty's Masters 2. This is the chaos that happens when there are 3 races in one. Ugh. Okay, so we are 40 minutes basically into this race, almost 3.7 Ks left, definitely in the final 8 of this race, the final portions of this race, and Brooker decides to get moving, and off he goes, keeping in mind that the man's still on his gravel bike in this race, obviously not running gravel tyres because that would be crazy. He's on the Aspero with the deep wind space 67s in, and decides that he wants to get animated in this race. He's played it fairly quietly in this one, keeping in mind that he is giving away a bit of a speed advantage on that bike. With a few riders up the road, he decides this is his chance to get across. And when you're on Brooker's wheels, similar to Marco, when they decide to go, then you've got the ticket to the front of the race, and I'm cashing in, as Matty Keenan would probably say. And I've made my way to the front of this bike race. There are a few riders up here. I'm not too sure of the grade. I can guarantee that Speedy's in Masters 3, and I'm sure there are a couple of Masters 1 riders here, but the fact of the matter that I'm now at the front of the race, I'm feeling positive. I don't want to be in the mess at the back, but we're not pedaling. It's all very stagnant, and the speed is starting to considerably drop, so your head needs to be on a swivel. Metaphorically, because we don't want you to be looking around in the bike race. It can cause dramas, but you can see in the rear cam, Crofty is stalking on the outside at the moment. He's waiting for his move to attack. Crofty's Masters 2 and is known for his massive engine, 5-minute power. He doesn't have a sprint. but the man can go long range and kind of stay away. Brooker's flicked the elbow. I want nothing to do with the front of the bike race. And it looks like in the distance there's one rider up there, but I'm sure we'll spot who that is. Crofty gets his head wiggle on and off he goes. He's on the back straight here. He's gone to kick. Speedy's done the same thing. So now in this move, which I've decided to jump onto, is basically 2 breakaway specialists. And me being as a fake sprinter, I'm going to try to do nothing. I want these guys to tow me to the line because, you know, I can't really offer them too much and I need to keep my legs nice and fresh. Now, I can already hear the groans in the audience. That's not the most nicest thing to do in this race, but I'm racing for myself here. That's what I got to do. And so Speedy looks around. He's keeping nice and aero in Crofty's wheel, but Crofty hasn't even looked around to see who's following him. You look in the rear cam, we've probably got a gap of, oh man, I'd give it a second if I was generous. We come around this top corner straight into the block headwind, and I'm wanting to get nice and small. It looks like Isaac has been up the road, but he looks around. He's Masters 1, and he's like, all right, well, I've been caught here. What can I do? Do I just pull the pin? Do I pull the handbrake, or do I jump back into the pace line and hope I can stay away? Crofty swings right, and Speedy takes up the challenge. And look at this shit-ass move of me. I don't even bother pulling through. How bad is that? I force Crofty to chase down Speedy and sit in his draft while I keep my heart rate low and keep protected. Yes, I am the protected rider here. I wish. As we take corner 3 into the tailwind section, I'm trying to get nice and small, nice and aero, not to push many watts and keep my heart rate low. Crofty's looked behind and he's got no choice. We're coming into 1 lap to go, ladies and gentlemen. 1 lap left and the Peloton is strung out in one perfect line. But the problem is, I'm caught right at the front of this bike race. I'm in absolute no man's land, and that's when all the teams or the riders or whoever start to move up to the front. Riders that we have not seen once in this race have now come up to the front to try to challenge the sprint. This is precisely what I didn't want to happen. I didn't want to be challenging all these guys in a bulk mass sprint because I'm not so good at it. And that's, here you go. We've got Team MBO Crane Tech arriving to the front. And this is actually home to my most popular Instagram vid with 40-something thousand views. So this is how it all breaks down. Look at Adam bumping off this roller rider. He wants part of the chain. I'm trying to find an exit. I want to get out of this chaos and find a nice, clean line around corner 3. But it's impossible. There are brake checks. There's a rider here that nearly just came down, and I nearly came down on top of them. It is absolute madness here because essentially there is 3 races all going on, and doesn't matter if you finish first or you finish 10th, you could still get on the podium, and that's where the situation is right now. So I'm sprinting for what, 15th position? I'm driving it to the line. I should have stayed on that white kid's line, but I don't. I nearly got chopped, and I sprint to the line and pick up second. You see that guy in the green kit there? He came first. That's what I'm talking about, ladies and gentlemen. It was madness, this race. Shaking my head, frustrations. I was so scared coming to that final sprint because it was just a free-for-all. If only we all knew who was in what race and who was riding in what division, things would have been a whole lot more simple. But that's a wrap. I hope you enjoyed that one. Pipe up in the comments below some, if you were to run this race, what would you have done a little bit differently? I'd love to hear what you think in the comments. Thanks again for watching, ladies and gentlemen. Stick around, make sure you subscribe because there's going to be plenty more videos coming up and maybe even a cheeky training program that I'm doing. We'll see, not too sure yet. But yeah, thanks again for watching, guys. I'll see you next time. Ciao.